It's ancient Egypt's greatest unsolved mystery, and it starts here.
You guys be careful.
300 feet under the Valley of the Kings.
The walls are all crumbly. The roof is untrustworthy. Really?
The last known whereabouts of a mysterious queen. Her name, Hatscepsut. And this is her tomb, KV-20.
Oh, boy. There's just a small crack between the rotten ceiling and the floor, but it doesn't look very good. But even this little room we're in right now looks like it's ready to collapse.
Let's just get it done and get out of here.
Yeah, you don't like it either, do you?
Nope.
Like this? You're right. To try and get in there right now would be very, very, very dangerous. Yeah.
Egypt's top archaeologist, Zahi Hawass, is determined to clear a path into the sealed chamber. For years, he's been obsessed with the story of Hatscepsut, trying to find out what happened to her and where her mummy might be.
She ruled Egypt in the Golden Age as a woman. We know very little about her. And that's why I think it's very important for us to search for her mummy.
But the tunnel to her tomb has been collapsing for decades. To clear the rubble, Zahi's diggers head down into the earth. Floodwaters have caused these walls to crumble.
No touch.
The passage takes them deep underground. Like their forebears thousands of years ago, they're tunneling through the darkness with only buckets and shovels and hundreds of tons of rock overhead. This is the last place Hatscepsut was ever seen. She wasn't just a queen, she was a pharaoh who ruled as a man, leading the largest kingdom of the ancient world, Egypt, during its most powerful dynasty. Her trade expeditions were groundbreaking, the scale of her building program unprecedented. In fact, she was King Tut's ancestor. But we know so little about her. The reason? Someone actually tried to wipe out her name from the pages of history. Her achievements were systematically erased, her statues smashed, her legacy destroyed, and her mummy itself vanished. Like any missing persons case, the search for Hatscepsut must start in the place she disappeared. Here, the Valley of the Kings, and this tomb known as KV-20, corkscrewing nearly 35 stories into the ground. Through 2 days, the men have been working. They've removed tons of rubble. Eventually, the chamber is revealed.
It's so amazing. Look at the burial chamber of the queen that I have never seen before.
This is where Hatscepsut's mummy and her sarcophagus were placed by her priests.
It was found in this place important evidence to prove that the queen was actually buried in this tomb.
But the next time that sarcophagus was seen, it was empty. Her body has been missing for centuries. Was it actually moved thousands of years ago? Was it destroyed? Where is her mummy? Now the hunt for this lost queen begins. Zahi and his team will head out across Egypt to find her missing mummy. And Egyptologist Dr. Kara Cooney will look for Hatscepsut's story to discover once and for all why this great woman was removed from history.
So I'm looking at these images of Hatscepsut, removed here, removed here. She's removed here from this purification scene. Goes all the way up to the ceilings. They brought in scaffolding to remove her everywhere that they could. What I don't understand is what it was that this woman did that was so wrong and horrible that they had to actually remove her image, remove her names, make sure that she ceased to exist in that Karnak temple space.
The search for her story begins at Karnak Temple, one of the largest religious complexes in the world. And vast amounts of it were built by Hatscepsut herself. A groundbreaking find has just been made here.
Oh, there is something. Oh.
And Zahi Hawass is on his way to check it out. A French team digging in the shadows of an obelisk erected by Hatscepsut has discovered something unexpected.
Ah la la! It's a face. Beautiful. The mouse.
A statue, an image buried by Hatscepsut herself.
C'est magnifique.
Right next to the statue, a tiny object bearing Hatscepsut's name. It's called a cartouche and it seems insignificant, but it's the pharaoh's royal seal.
Extraordinaire.
And it's one of the few surviving pieces of evidence that just might help explain what happened to the lost queen and why she vanished.
When you dig, you never know in advance. It's always a surprise.
It's the first time we can discover this in this place.
This is very important discovery. It's fantastic. Congratulations.
For you.
Okay, no for you.
A name once erased from the history books has suddenly reappeared, and a cold case 30 centuries old is just heating up. Dr. Francois Larcher is responsible for reconstructing the great monuments here. One of his first projects was the rebuilding of Hatscepsut's place of worship, the Red Chapel. The hieroglyphs on its walls, for those able to read them, tell an amazing story. The story of Hatscepsut's life, her wild rise to power. She is born a princess, the daughter of a pharaoh, Thutmose I. As the king's daughter, she is tutored to follow in his footsteps, even though she is a girl, in a kingdom run by men.
I would love to say that Thutmose I saw in his daughter an ability to rule, even though she was a woman, that maybe his own son didn't have.
Had she been a boy, she'd have been next in line to rule. But when her beloved father dies, it's her half-brother, Thutmose II, who inherits the throne. Her father's son by a harem wife, he's only partly royal. But to bolster his credentials, he marries the young Hatscepsut, his half-sister. Now she's just a royal wife, until something happens that will change her life. In downtown Cairo, the search for Hatscepsut's mummy is just gearing up. How do you track down someone who has been missing for 3.5 millennia? To know what they're looking for, Zahi Hawass and his team have assembled a checklist from the facts and images of the time. Age, 40 to 50. Eyes, broadly spaced. Nose, aquiline. Mouth, small. Face, heart-shaped. She will have the fine linen wrappings of a pharaoh and the bent arm that signifies royalty, both typical of the mummification style of the 18th dynasty. With this information, Zahi Hawass has come up with a list of suspects, unidentified mummies he believes might be Hatscepsut. Now he's on the trail of his first lead. But tracking down the pharaoh's mummies is never easy. Hawass knows that they've been shifted from tomb to tomb over the centuries by priests to save them from thieves and plunderers. When they were moved, the mummies' names were often lost.
The priests have to save the mummies. What they did first, they took mummies from their original tombs and they put it nearby. And this is why I do have a belief that the mummy of Queen Hatscepsut was moved from her tomb, Cave 20, to the tomb nearby.
That's why Hawass has turned to a tomb not far from Hatscepsut's original burial place. A tomb discovered in 1903 by Howard Carter of King Tut fame. It's known as KV 60. But it was forgotten for nearly a century until rediscovered by explorer Don Ryan. 2 mummies were found here. One, in a coffin marked with the name of Hatscepsut's nanny, was moved to the Cairo Museum. The other is still here, a mystery.
This is a perfect place to hide the mummy of the queen.
This is the face of a woman who lived 3,500 years ago. A woman who believed that if her body was preserved, her spirit would last for eternity. She has the powerful physique of a queen. The question is this Hatscepsut?
It's in a perfect condition. Actually, one of the most preserved mummy.
Since it's just a makeshift coffin, the team rips it apart to get a better look. What Zahi is hunting for are the identifying clues that match his checklist. He finds several, the high-grade linen and elegant wrapping of a royal, and that's just the start.
She has her right hand on her chest. This is a mark of royalty. The face is beautiful face, shows a strong lady, very strong lady, as a matter of fact, strong, impressive royal mummy.
Emerging from the sleep of centuries, the body in this box could be Hatscepsut. For the first time in 3,500 years, it leaves the Valley of the Kings. For the first time ever, it journeys through airport security. It's just a warm-up for the CT scan to come as it heads to the Cairo Museum. Besides the two mummies, one other clue was found in tomb KV-60, a distinctive mask. The gold has been scraped off by tomb robbers, but another detail is intriguing. It's a female face with a notch cut into the chin, an indentation to hold a pharaoh's false beard. For a woman who ruled as a man, could this be a clue? A little girl who became a pharaoh. As a 12-year-old married to her half-brother, Hatscepsut is destined to be just another queen in the shadow of her husband. But Thutmose II is weak, and according to many, Hatscepsut is the power behind the throne. When her husband dies, everything changes.
A huge burden is placed upon her. At the age of 15, her husband dies, the king dies, and she then has to be regent for this toddler that's not her son, it's her stepson, her nephew. And all of a sudden, she's thrust into that position again of having to take extreme responsibility for the entire country of Egypt and for her dynastic line.
From this moment on, she is no longer just Queen Hatscepsut. She is the pharaoh Ma'at-Ka-Ra, king of Upper and Lower Egypt.
She goes through the complex ritual of coronation here at this place in Thebes at the Temple of Karnak. Complex ritual activity, having to put on the crown, the regalia, even though she's a woman.
It's the clothing of a man, but that doesn't stop Hatscepsut either.
So if Hatscepsut wanted to take power of all of Egypt, she had to do so as a king, which means that she had to change her femininity, she had to dress as a man, she had to wear a false beard. She had to completely morph herself into a man so that she could take control of this place that revolves around male power.
In this one moment, a woman becomes a pharaoh, equal to, if not greater, than King Thutmose III.
In a way, you could look at this moment, this coronation, where she takes on the regalia of kingship as her doom, as the thing that ends up bringing her down, as the reason that people have to erase her from history.
Some say she's seizing power wrongly. Some say she's just trying to protect her nation. Some even suggest that this action will fuel her stepson's lifelong hatred. Either way, this one radical act changes everything and sets her demise in motion. In this secluded location behind the Valley of the Kings, two mysterious queens were found that were never identified. Two possible Hatscepsuts, buried at the bottom of a shaft.
The priestess of the 21st dynasty, they came and they dug this shaft because they know that this shaft will hide the tombs of the pharaohs for a long time.
Was this Hatscepsut's final resting place?
We're getting to the last chamber. The chamber which most of the mummies were found.
Two of those royal mummies are still unidentified. When archaeologist Gaston Maspero found them, he called them Unknown Woman A and B. Zahi has always wondered if one of them could be Hatscepsut. The most compelling clue was a small funerary box found beside them. A box with a mummified liver inside. Inscribed on the front, Hatscepsut's name, This is the one item we know for sure was hers, and it was found right here.
I really can smell the steps of the people who came to hide these mummies more than 2,700 years ago. But who can imagine all the difficulties they had, coming here at night, hiding all these boxes, when the Valley of the Kings became a place that people robbed things everywhere. The priestess of the 21st and the 22nd dynasty did a miracle by saving the mummies of their ancestors. They saved them for eternity.
Over the years, these mummies, along with the mysterious box, were all moved to the Cairo Museum, where they've been tucked away and forgotten. On the surface, it looks like any other major museum. But this one is cloaked in shadows. It's a vast repository of secrets, a treasure trove of the pharaohs, their mummies, and their gold. Zahi Hawass has been walking these halls for nearly 30 years. Searching for the mummies from DB 320, he turns to an original log of the Cairo Museum. It has the dust of decades on it. Every item that's come in and gone out of the museum for the last 100 years is recorded here.
Unknown A or unknown B?
But the log doesn't hold all the answers. There are hundreds of mummies in the museum, and many of them are unidentified. Now it comes down to legwork. Behind the glass, the first of the mummies from DB 320. Unknown woman B, a royal, calm and serene.
You know, this is an unknown female mummy. It looks beautiful. It has a wonderful curly hair. It has a royal style. It's very important to investigate this mummy also.
Unknown woman A has been hiding in plain sight all along, in a glass case on the second floor. Is this the face of a queen? What kind of terrible end did she meet? At the Cairo Museum, a CAT scan machine is just arriving. It's been rushed all the way from Germany, on loan from Siemens, but they'll only have access to it for a week. They need to get started right away.
Everything seems to be okay.
Their plan? To scan the mummies of Hatscepsut's relatives, to see if they can find distinguishing characteristics, any recurring facial features or genetic markers that could help identify Hatscepsut. On the hunt for the missing queen, it will be a key first step to finding the right mummy. The initial mummies to be scanned are among the most famous in all of Egypt: Thutmose I, Thutmose II, and Thutmose III. They're some of Egypt's greatest pharaohs, national treasures, heavily guarded in the Cairo Museum's Royal Mummy exhibit. And they're all Hatscepsut's relatives: her father, half-brother, and stepson. They've been locked away in pressurized containers, nitrogen-sealed for years, until now. The nitrogen helps stop flesh and bone from decaying. The mummies will be permitted to leave their cases for just one night. They can't be taken out for too long before they start to deteriorate. The team will only get one chance to do this. They start with Thutmose I. Led by radiologist Dr. Ashraf Salim and scanning specialist Dr. Hani Amer, the scientific team is looking for distinctive traits that will mark the members of the Thutmose's family. They intend to scan all three mummies, then compare the images side by side to create a combined family portrait. Step 1, Hatshepsut's father.
We do not know how he died. We don't really have any evidence. But I think the study of the CT scan machine will give us an idea of how he died.
Even at a first glimpse, the nose and cheekbones resemble the statues of Hatscepsut. But almost immediately, Hani's attention is drawn to something else, an area so dense it cannot be part of a human.
We find something unusual in the right thoracic cage. It's bright, it's like a metal, it's like a dense material.
There's a clue what this object might be.
Broken rib, here. It looks like an arrowhead. It's very amazing. This is the first time I saw this thing inside a mummy. I think this is the cause of death.
Next up, Thutmoses II, Hatshepsut's half-brother. He was her husband for a few short years, the one believed to be a weak and sickly king, overshadowed by Hatshepsut as the power behind the throne. But genetically, he is a key link in the Thutmoses family.
Look at his buck teeth, exactly similar to the buck teeth of Tutankhamun. And that really can show the similarity between all the family of Dynasty 18.
The most interesting genetic marker is what appears to be evidence of some kind of skin disease.
There is some spots that is not really shown in the face, and they believe that he suffered disease in his body.
Could this skin disease be passed on through the family? Will Hatshepsut herself have pockmarked skin?
The other interesting thing that if you look at his neck, you'll find it's wounded. And some people believe that he died during a battle. Okay, let's go.
This is the wound on the left side of the neck. Okay, it's a very deep wound. It's coming from the right side to the left side as if someone hit me.
Hani inspects a different angle of the neck and finds that, like his father, Thutmoses II may have met an early end in battle.
It almost reaches the bone of the cervical vertebrae. This means it's very deep. Any cut or any injury of these blood vessels might lead to death.
But even before this potentially brutal end, Thutmoses II was suffering. The scans reveal the pharaoh's heart had calcifications, proof of chronic heart disease, and that's not all.
This is the spots we are talking about, all over the body, yes. It seems like it's rounded lesions or rounded subcutaneous or cutaneous lesions. It's 0.4, so it's very small.
The body is in fact riddled with pockmarks. While it might be from the mummification process, it's more likely either a skin disease or smallpox. The legend of Thutmoses II's ill health seems to be true. 2/3 of the scans are done. And now the last pharaoh, Hatshepsut's stepson, the boy and man she shared the throne with, Thutmoses III, the leader of 17 famous military campaigns, and perhaps her rival for power, perhaps her enemy.
What's really interesting about this man, the strategy of war that he did, still in the academy, military academy everywhere, they study how Thutmose III did go and capture the city of Baghdad.
And so the man known as Egypt's Napoleon slides into the CT scan machine.
Something metal. Something metal. I don't know what it is, but we will see. It's just like a metal bracelet on the right forearm.
Howard Carter, when he examined the mummy, found 104 pieces of gold. But the thieves maybe did not search it. This is the end of his hand. For sure it's gold.
Now that the scans are done, the real work begins. As the mummies are taken back to their nitrogen cases, Ashraf and Hani start to map out the common family traits and create the composite image. The first thing they notice is that Thutmoses II's skin condition may run in the family.
They have the same skin lesions here, the elevations in the skin, subcutaneous lesions, and this is Thutmoses II. Thutmoses III, it has the same lesions. So it is a genetic disease.
Brought together in a remarkable piece of computer wizardry, they give us one image, one face, a composite picture of the Thutmoses family. This is the image that will help guide their search as they try to figure out exactly which mummy is Hatscepsut, the face of a woman who ruled one of the greatest empires on Earth. On a mission to understand Hatscepsut's rise to power and those who might have tried to wipe it out, Kara is crossing the Nile to see the pharaoh's legacy. As a new pharaoh, Hatscepsut would build a time of prosperity for Egypt. And build is the right word. She starts construction projects all across her country, from Luxor to the Valley of the Kings, and just across the mountains from there is the best example, one of the ancient world's greatest building feats, Hatscepsut's temple at Deir el-Bahari.
Hatscepsut's building program was extraordinary. She built at Karnak Temple significant amounts. She built at Luxor Temple. She may have actually founded that temple. She built here at Deir el-Bahari one of the most grand structures to still survive in ancient Egypt. When a pharaoh's building program is large and extensive, that means that their reign is successful and prosperous. She's showing in stone, I'm capable of doing this. I can bring prosperity to my country.
Kara is on her way to meet Dr. Zbigniew Zafransky. He and his team from Poland have been working to restore Deir el-Bahari for the past 20 years. And in that time, he has felt his bond with Hatscepsut grow.
Strong woman, first of all, beautiful woman. I like her. And I know that she's very, she wants to keep us as long as possible.
Deir el-Bahari is the public face of the pharaoh, but Kara discovers there was something else to this temple that Hatscepsut was not so public about. A hard-to-define relationship that might have brought her under attack even then. At her side in all of this building was the architect, Senenmut. He was a commoner, but he was the tutor of her daughter, Neferure, the builder of Hatscepsut's great projects. Some said their relationship was even closer. Senenmut helped her build Deir el-Bahari, and like Hatscepsut, his name has been largely wiped out from the temple, except for one place.
We are in the chapel of Hathor.
Hidden in a dark corner, Senenmut left secret images of himself.
So it's perfectly intact. Nobody's gone after it in any way.
Beautiful. He's kneeling, and in front of him you have his name.
So why do you think he placed these in the places that he did?
His figures were behind the wooden door.
So this was never meant to be seen. It was only meant to have him worshiping forever in this sacred space.
Working to discover who wanted to erase Hatscepsut from history and why, the French team has come up with another major find at Karnak. The temple complex, extending 2 square miles, was once dominated by 6 of Hatscepsut's obelisks. Today, only one remains, the tallest in all of Egypt. Originally, a giant wall surrounded it. Underneath the obelisk, the French team has already found a mysterious buried statue, and next to the wall, a cartouche bearing her name. Now, as the digging continues, they find the statue is actually holding hands with someone, perhaps another statue. The entire site rests on a delicate series of metal supports. The wall foundation above them is cracking. They work desperately to keep their site from crumbling in. If they don't shore it up soon, there's a chance the site might come crashing down on them. To check whether there's been any impact on the obelisk, Rosemary Leboeck must head 8 stories up. Balanced on top of a column, she'll measure the obelisk against the horizon.
Straight.
For now, the obelisk is straight, and the site is secure. But there's no rest for Rose yet, because right next to the second statue is an intriguing hieroglyph.
Well, there is an inscription here. Ah la la! We can see something. It's very, very interesting.
Rose makes a startling discovery. The statues belong to Hatscepsut's predecessor, an early pharaoh, Neferhotep.
Nefer-Etep.
Why would she have placed these figures under her obelisk? The French team has a theory that Hatscepsut might have identified herself with this ancient king. Like her, he may have been under attack. Like her, he had problems with the legitimacy of his reign and rose to overcome them.
It's very incredible for us and for Hatscepsut.
So what happened to Hatscepsut herself? Where is her body? At the Cairo Museum, Zahi Hawas's team is assembling the mummies that could be the pharaoh. From DB 320, the screaming mummy, and the serene one, plus the strong mummy from KV 60. But as he looks over the three, he gets an idea. There was actually one other mummy found in KV 60, brought to the museum in 1908. Some say it was Hatscepsut's nanny, but Zahi wonders, what if it was Hatscepsut herself? What if the priests swapped the coffins to hide her?
No one really tried to look for the other mummy. We have to look at the other mummy.
Tamam.
For the first time in 100 years, the mummy sees the light of day.
Nobody have seen this mummy since 1908. No one single photograph has been taken of this mummy at all. We are lucky today.
The initial signs are promising.
If you look at the way that her hand is put, it is a royal style.
And there's another clue that this may not be the nanny. The coffin is too long for the mummy.
We can see 20 inches left. The ancient Egyptian will never do that. And therefore, I can say 100% that this mummy do not belong to this coffin at all.
Now there are 4 possible Hatscepsuts, laid out together for the first time. Unknown A, the screaming mummy. Unknown B, the serene one. The strong one from KV 60, and the so-called nanny. To Zahi, these last two look the most royal.
If I have the choice looking at these two, and I can say from my heart, if these two could be, one of them is Queen Hatscepsut. I don't know why I favorite this mummy, just from my heart. But your heart cannot do anything. You have to use science to be sure that this is true or not.
First up, unknown woman A, the screaming mummy. 1,700 scans, each less than 5 millimeters thick. For doctors Ashraf and Hani, these tiny slivers of information will hold the answers.
We're starting from the head, and we'll go down.
Beyond the contorted features, Hani immediately notices an anomaly on the skull.
The bone here is very thin. Part of the bone is not there. Sharp objects or a fall.
Hani has found some kind of trauma to the head. A gash 1/4 inch deep. It could explain the agonized expression if it happened before death. They'll have to examine the scans in detail to find out. They move on to unknown B, the serene one.
Everybody out?
She has the regal bearing of a pharaoh, but it's too soon to tell.
A very good image quality.
And now for the royal that traveled from a forgotten tomb to Cairo for a high-tech examination. The strong one from KV 60. She has the powerful presence of a ruler.
The bone texture looks rather relatively prominent than usual. How significant is this? We do not know yet.
Finally, the so-called nanny, Zahi's personal favorite. To him, this mummy is everything a queen should be.
Tell you, remain good condition in the legs, huh? Perfect.
Very good condition.
He hopes the scans can give him more proof for his theory that the mummies of KV 60 were swapped, and this is the real Hatscepsut. Ashraf and Hani see some evidence of skin disease, as on Tutmosis II.
We just noticed many very tiny things that are adherent to the skin, as well as the hair What could it be? That's what we were trying to analyze. What could it be? We just need more time.
The strong one looks the closest in terms of facial features, but that's only half the battle. They also have to examine the bodies. They're looking for the so-called royal arm position. Queens of the 18th dynasty were almost always buried with an arm across their chest. Since mummies' limbs are often broken or rearranged long after death, it's hard to be 100% sure of anything before scanning. But the CT machine soon reveals the serene one, unknown B, is not likely. The scans prove her arms aren't broken, and they're clearly not in the royal position.
This mummy has both her arms extended beside the body, so the arm is not bent, in other words. So this is for sure not a royal position.
And therefore, this is not the mummy of a queen. The CT machine rules out its first corpse.
I think this is the first one. We can rule it out from the list we have.
Next up is Unknown Woman A, the screaming mummy. The images of this twisted corpse still have the power to shock even 3,500 years later. The scans show that her jaw is intact. In other words, her expression now is the same as when she died. A terrible head wound, an agonized scream, all pre-mortem. For Ashraf, there is one inescapable conclusion.
We believe that this mummy died in this position. I mean, she was screaming or scared or whatever. And talking about the wound on the back of her head, this might be a sign of murder.
The only way a pharaoh leaves the throne is by death. Some take their time, and some are hurried to their grave. If this is Hatscepsut, was she murdered? Hatscepsut is believed to have been 40 to 50 at death. Factor in the wrong age, the wrong quality of embalming, the wrong time frame for mummification, and this mummy is clearly out of the running.
Yeah, we can rule this mummy out. I don't think that she could be Hatscepsut.
2 prime suspects, 2 queens, the strong one and the nanny are left. The team decides to bring them to the next, more rigorous round of forensic testing. For the first time ever, advanced DNA technology will be used on the hunt for a pharaoh.
We will be focusing on these 2 mummies in particular, trying to see what's with and what's against each to be Queen Hatscepsut.
Zahi assembles a team from Egypt's National Research Center. These molecular geneticists, headed by Dr. Yahia Zakaria, plan to compare the DNA of the queens with Hatscepsut's relatives to see which one, if either, will match.
The one which will show matching DNA fingerprint will be Hatscepsut.
99.9% of all human DNA is the same in everyone. Only a few strands set each family group apart. Those tiny strands are what they're looking for. But DNA deteriorates rapidly, degrading from the moment of death as water, microbes, and oxygen attack it. After 3,500 years, there may not be enough left to make a positive ID.
We'll start the first one from the pelvic bone.
Okay.
Once they choose the best entry point, they use a bone biopsy needle to bore deep inside to the marrow. That's where they'll find the purest DNA, if any still exists. But Dr. Zakaria immediately encounters a problem.
The bone is very soft quality.
The bone in the hip has deteriorated. It's no good for a sample.
She has a bone disease, a real bone disease.
A bone disease?
Yes, yeah, she has some bone disease in both hip bones or the pelvic bones.
When we look at the CT scan, maybe this could confirm what you're talking about. Yes.
They resort to taking a sample from the upper tibia.
Okay, good.
And after more than an hour, they have enough material.
We have 10 samples.
Next up, the so-called nanny. The needles and protective gear have all been changed to avoid contamination between mummies.
We are digging into the tissue to make a deep tunnel to get far away from the surface, so the risk of contamination is much minimized. It's like a screwdriver.
After another hour and a half of painstaking work, Dr. Zakaria has the samples he needs.
Yep. Oh, that's a good one.
What they're looking for is the elusive nuclear DNA, the DNA from the cell nucleus. It's the kind used in paternity cases. In ancient sources, it's much harder to extract, but if they do find it, it could yield definitive proof.
I'm waiting impatiently.
And then, the first results come through. Faint but definite signs of nuclear DNA.
It's really thrilling. It's DNA, nuclear DNA is coming out.
And it's not just the nanny. The strong one also yields nuclear DNA.
This is really nice. I mean, there is some pattern here.
The results are astonishing. On the first try, the team is actually finding DNA that survived 3,500 years. But when they turn to Hatscepsut's father, their luck runs out. After several attempts, Thutmose I sample does yield a tiny amount of nuclear DNA, but not enough to prove a relationship.
You can't be lucky each time. Either the DNA of Thutmose I is not there, or it's in a very poor state that it cannot be amplified.
But the team does have a fallback plan. One other direct ancestor of Hatscepsut, the mummy of Amos Nefertari, Hatscepsut's grandmother, a powerful queen said to be her role model. But it's much harder to work with mitochondrial DNA. To prove a relationship with it takes much longer. Now a process begins that may take weeks, even months. But the potential payoff is huge. A chance to find out if one of these two mummies is Hatscepsut.
I will wait until the results, and then we'll have a big meeting here. Okay.
As Zahi's scientific team zeroes in on a possible Hatscepsut, Kara's historical team is closing in on possible suspects, those who wanted to erase her from history. Of all the enemies she might have feared, historians always felt there was one most likely suspect, her stepson, Thutmose III. He wasn't a toddler anymore. Now grown up and in charge of the army, was he chafing to get power? Did he want to take her place?
One way of looking at this and seeing all of this destruction, all of this violent hacking out of her name, it is possible to think that Thutmose III hated this woman, that he considered her an evil stepmother.
Egyptologist Charles Van Sicklen agrees.
One of the first theories was that she was the wicked stepmother, hated by Thutmose III. When she died in a fit of rage, he destroys all her monuments.
After more than a decade, was he simply tired of waiting? As head of the army, Thutmose III had the means and the motive. Did he kill Hatscepsut? Back at Deir el-Bahari, Dr. Safransky's team has found a clue that may start to connect the dots. It's about Hatscepsut's daughter, Neferure. It turns out the queen was grooming her for power.
It was done in the time of Hatscepsut.
These inscriptions, like so many tied to Hatscepsut, have been erased. But looking deep within the stone, they find hints of what was there before.
We have traces of Ra. We have traces of Nefer.
Oh, I see it.
If these images fascinate Egyptologists, it's because they show Neferure as a deity, a pharaoh in training, and place her right next to the inner sanctuary.
The significance of this image, and this is where it gets really cool, is that Hatscepsut is putting her daughter into an incredibly important priestess position, but it seems into a political position as well, and maybe even as her successor.
Neferure would simply vanish. Was she caught in the middle of her mother's political struggle?
Well, this would be unprecedented, to have a female king to be grooming her daughter to be her successor as another king. She pushed it very far.
That's it. Too far.
It's too radical.
Is this the key to the entire campaign to destroy Hatscepsut's legacy? Did she have to be removed to ensure her descendants would never mount the throne?
Did it place her at risk? Must have.
Meanwhile, back in Cairo, Zahi's team has narrowed the search down to two possible Hatscepsuts, the two from KV-60, the nanny and the strong one. The results from the DNA lab are heartening. They have successfully extracted mitochondrial DNA from Amos Nefertari, Hatscepsut's grandmother. That makes a comparison with the suspects possible, but it's going to take time. Getting a match is like hunting for a single name in a stack of 200 telephone books. So their work will have to continue for months. Now the investigation is at an impasse. Until Zahi gets an idea. Could the one artifact with the Queen's name on it, the funerary box from the cache of DB320, hold some kind of clue?
This is the only thing that we have as an evidence of the mummy of the Queen.
We have to find it immediately.
Now they just have to track it down. With almost 150,000 artifacts in the Cairo Museum, finding a tiny wooden box is no easy task. And then at last, they find it.
Yes, this is the box of Hatscepsut.
And so a small wooden box from the Golden Age of Egypt enters the 21st century. But even veteran radiologists don't know quite how to interpret what they're seeing.
There's a mixture of very bizarre-looking, odd-looking things there. I don't know what could it be. I'm trying to see, can we scan it in a different way?
They try again, this time at a different angle.
We'll figure out.
It's strange. You see there are different structures inside. There are two separate organs.
First, the liver comes into focus. Next, a bonus. Hatscepsut's intestines are here as well. Then Dr. Hani spots something really surprising, something defined.
This is good. It's some sort of bone. It's a bone. It seems like a bone.
If this dense object is a piece of bone, then they can compare it with the skeletons they already have. This could be a vital clue. The team is excited.
If we take a look to the books, we will find something amazing. We found some hyper-dense parts. It seemed as if it is a tooth or something like that.
Once the images are rendered in 3 dimensions, the dense object does indeed seem to be a tooth.
This is a teeth.
The next logical step, to determine if either mummy is missing a tooth. But nothing in this hunt turns out to be easy. Both of the mummies are missing teeth. The nanny lacks an upper incisor.
You see that?
And the strong mummy of KV60 is missing several teeth, including an upper molar.
This one is missing molar teeth. This is a root, only one root without the rest of the molar teeth.
Okay, so what we have here?
I'm surprised by a big surprise.
Now the question is simple. Is the tooth in the box a molar or an incisor? Which KV60 mummy did it belong to, if either?
Maybe these are the missing teeth. Maybe.
To find out, they call in an expert, Dr. Galal Bahari, an oral surgeon from Cairo University. What kind of tooth is it?
It is a molar tooth, and it has only one root. Okay?
A molar with a root missing. That's the information they've been looking for. It's either the strong one from KV60 or they don't have the right mummy at all.
I think that we are very close to solve the mystery, and I do hope that we reach the final step.
Ashraf and Hani measure to see if this tooth fits in the gap in the strong mummy's mouth.
I feel quite, excited. Of course, we are all eager to know if she's really Hatscepsut or not.
Luckily, each person has teeth unique to their own mouth. Size, shape, and proportions as distinctive as a fingerprint. It will come down to the last millimeter.
So it's 1.74, the other one was 1.8, so it's 0.6 of a millimeter difference. So, yeah, they're matching.
At the end of a long day, facts in hand, they're sure they've got a match.
This is Queen Hatscepsut. Okay? Okay.
Here's why. The tooth in Hatshepsut's box is a molar with one root missing. And in the mummy's mouth, there's a gap for a molar, and one root is still in place. A perfect match.
So I think this is quite an achievement, and I think we're all, happy about what we just got from these images.
Very happy to solve this mystery.
Let's celebrate.
It's the kind of proof that almost never happens in a cold case 3,500 years old. Definitive proof, the kind that solves cases. The missing tooth has given them Hatscepsut. For Zahi, this is the news he's been waiting decades to hear. Hatscepsut has been found.
I never thought in my life that we'll be able to actually discover this mummy at all. I have to tell you, congratulations.
Thank you, Dr. Zahi. Without you, we will never be able to finish this work. Yes.
You found, you and Hani, this great, incredible discovery. The tooth that can fit with KV60A, that now it is not KV60A.
Yes,
it is the
Queen
mummy
Hatscepsut.
of Queen Hatscepsut.
Yes, that's good.
The forgotten mummy from KV60, neglected for millennia, until Zahi returned, reopening the tomb and the investigation into her identity and returning her to her rightful place. Hatscepsut the pharaoh, found at last.
This is really a very important discovery. To discover a mummy that was neglected for thousands of years, and to know, to be sure, through science and archaeology, that this is the mummy of Queen Hatscepsut, this is a very important moment.
It's a major archaeological find, but the team has only a moment to savor it. Because it's only half what they set out to do. They still have to figure out who or what killed her. Was Hatscepsut murdered? And who was behind the plan to erase her from history? There's one last set of revelations still to come. Now the investigation travels to Germany to the state-of-the-art Siemens laboratory. Dr. Zahi Hawass has sent the scans there to use next-generation processing software they've developed.
We can see the brain a little bit better.
In the vivid colors of 3D volumetric imaging, Hatscepsut comes to life again.
And then if we turn it to the other side, this is the area where we have the missing tooth.
As forensic pathologists and the top 3D experts try to determine her cause of death, radiologist Dr. Paul Gostner is soon able to see just what ailed her. A tumor formed near the abdomen.
She had pain especially because of the tumor. It destroyed the bone. That's a sure sign it was malignant.
But that wasn't all. Hatscepsut was suffering from many ailments. She had arthritis, osteoporosis, perhaps even diabetes. But none of those did her in. What killed her was something she would have never expected.
In the last months of life, a painful abscess formed in her mouth with swelling. She practically couldn't open or close her mouth, so in the last days, she would have been unable to eat. In this situation, it's easy for an abscess to infect the body with pathogenic microorganisms with fatal consequences.
Her last months must have been painful. A powerful queen, a pharaoh, wasting away in her bed. The infection eating at her gums, and finally, the rest of her too. This then is how Hatscepsut died, killed by her body's own infection, ironically, from the very same teeth that proved the key to her identification. So if she was done in by disease, then who tried to remove her from history? Back at Karnak, Dr. Larche has made a new find that ties all the pieces together.
Here, there is a very interesting detail.
His team was repairing a wall. Behind it, they found a surprise. In several places where Hatshepsut's name was hacked away, it was actually replaced with another name, Amenhotep II, Thutmose III's son. For Kara, this is the evidence she's been looking for. evidence of the motive for the attack on Hatshepsut's legacy. It's all about the politics of succession. Thutmose III did it for his son.
This right here is wonderful proof to show me that they're not trying to remove Hatscepsut because they hate her or because she's horrible. They're trying to remove Hatscepsut because they want to make sure that the succession is patrilineal, is clear from father to son.
This is the final proof. This is why Hatshepsut's name was wiped out. She was not the victim of hot-blooded murder, but a cold-blooded purging. Thutmose III wanted to remove her from history, to have his family and his children take her place.
The only one who can make the destruction of her monuments should be one person, Thutmose III. When he became the king, he had to take her name away from history.
In a way, you could look at Hatshepsut's life in a tragic sort of way. She loses her father at the age of 12. She loses her husband at the age of 15 to 20. She loses her mother shortly after that. She loses Senenmut, one of her closest advisors. She loses her daughter Neferure. The only person that she actually seems to have had a connection with, significant, long-lasting connection with, was Thutmose III, who amazingly was the very person that removed all of her images after her death. It's a very tragic story.
But now, after 3.5 millennia, some small part of that tragedy has been settled. And the mummy that was forgotten has been brought back to a place in the Cairo Museum.
I have to say, from my heart, as an archaeologist, for the first time, looking at this mummy, putting this mummy at the Cairo Museum beside the royal mummies, saying that this mummy is Queen Hatscepsut, it's a very important moment in the life of any archaeologist. I'm very proud that I do have this moment, and I found the mummy of this queen, Queen Hatscepsut.
The first pharaoh found and identified in nearly a century. The first since Tutankhamun. Rescued from oblivion, Hatshepsut regains her position as one of the most powerful women the world has ever seen. Not just a queen, a king. Hatshepsut the pharaoh, the woman, the legacy, restored at last.